Hey, happy Tuesday, January 28th. Can you believe that the entire month of January is almost gone by the end of this week? Also, did you watch the Edmonton Oilers yesterday? I was super stressed because the first period, let's just say I was not impressed with how they were playing. But I'm so glad that we won. I'm definitely an Oilers fan, and sometimes you don't want to be around if you're not an Oilers fan when we're watching the game. Anyways, you didn't come for me to talk about the Oilers commentary. You're here to talk about the Edmonton real estate market. So whether you're a buyer, seller, or a homeowner and you're thinking about moving to Edmonton, we're going to talk about the market stats. We're going to chat about what's been going on, what does that mean for you, and I'm going to give you a sneak peek on one of my new listings coming to the market this week. And what else am I going to do? Oh, if you are live watching, please comment and I can answer any questions that you may have. And I'm going to show you kind of what's going on in the real estate market. Without further ado, we're going to talk about the active single family home listings. So these are homes that are not attached, well, with the exception of half duplexes. These are ones with no condos at all. The listing inventory has stayed pretty much the same as it was last week. The week before, we saw a little bit of an increase instead of the decrease that we had been seeing over the last few months. And if you take a look at the surrounding areas, they're all pretty similar. Spruce Grove, of note, there is 20 more listings that came on the market, 21 in the last bit. Now, if you're wondering what the market had done for all of December, we just put that video out last week. So make sure you go watch that video to see that all that information. I talk about what's happened for the whole year as a whole because at December, obviously, all our numbers are in for the entire year. Today, we also have live, if you're thinking about moving into Edmonton, a video about why you shouldn't move to Edmonton. Don't move to Edmonton if you haven't considered these items. So that video just went live as well. In terms of the pending sales, this means contracts like buyer seller agree, it's pending, and it has conditions, which means it didn't sell immediately. You can see the sales in Edmonton, or sorry, pending sales went up by 20 this last week. So it is busy. As a realtor, we are seeing lots of activity, lots of buyers asking to go look for houses, ready to go shopping now. It is the end of January. January typically is usually the quieter month of all of the months, well, December, January. And February has started to pick up. Honestly, the last few years, February has always been not a bad market to list your home. It's like the new March, I would call it. March is typically where you see more listings come. As our mild weather continues, like it's supposed to be +4 today, which is also not normal. As the mild weather continues, it also encourages people to continue looking at homes. So that's something to consider. Now, if you take a look at the last week of sales, actual sold, so conditions removed, or properties with no conditions, offers with no conditions going sold, very similar to the week before. Obviously, next week, I think we're going to see a higher number because of what happened in the pending sales. Those are what dictates what happens. In theory, pending sales should convert to solds, but sometimes there are reasons why the deal doesn't go through. Person can't get financing, the inspection doesn't go the way they want it to go. And so those don't then transfer over to sold. You're also going to see sold getting added to that number from the pending because people wrote offers with no conditions. It's not very common yet to see offers with no conditions, even in multiples. We were just in a multiple offer this last weekend. We still have conditions and we still were able to win. So you don't need to have no conditions yet. I do foresee this market is going to be similar to the market we had 3 years ago in 2022, when the real estate market, pretty much you walked in the house, you knew you were going to be multiple offers for one, and you had to write fairly quickly unless they were wanting to wait. And so sometimes you're getting that time to look at homes because they listed it and they're not going to look at offers until Sunday, which is quite typical. So then it gives you time as a buyer to at least get in there. You don't have to drop everything and show up like the day on Friday. But then at the same time, there's different strategies on how do you win a multiple offer. So I do have a video on that in terms of how do you win a multiple offer. It's very important, and it is very possible. And it doesn't mean you have to put in like 100,000 over list. Actually, I haven't even seen that. Unless the house has been extremely underpriced, I don't think that needs to happen in Edmonton, but I don't know. we'll see what happens. So compared to last year, we're still slower in sales. We have 153 versus 194, but we are like busier than we were last year. And I think it's because we don't have as much homes for sale. I said this before, so I sound like a broken record. But for all those that haven't tuned in before, I think that's the reason why we are seeing a busier market, even though the sales say we are seeing less. Now, keep in mind this is also single family homes only, but you can see in St. Albert we've had a higher amount of sales this year compared to last year. Sherwood Park's a little bit slower, and then Spruce Grove is pretty much the same. Now, we've also been taking clients out to buy new builds because there's more options in the new build world than just looking online at resale. So, as a realtor, we can help on both sides. And so that's why we've gone to both. The deals are still kind of there because some of the builders had a slow January. And so they were able to do some sort of negotiation, not a whole lot. But the fact that we saw any negotiation to me means that, like, they definitely, I wouldn't say they're hurting, but they definitely were more open than they would. I guarantee you in a couple months, you won't see builders doing anything because that's kind of what they've been doing the last few years. A lot of them have gotten rid of legal fees that they usually cover for you. And they used to give maybe extra appliance credit or a discount on the purchase price, but we're seeing less and less of that. And I predict we will see even less to like none by the time spring comes. Now, there are homes that are available for sale that they have completed and they're ready to move in right away. So those are some things that you want to consider, but I always highly recommend looking at those in addition to the ones on MLS to make sure that this really is the right deal. Sometimes in the new build world, you are paying a premium. Now, yes, you're paying a premium, but you have to also consider as the market gets busier in the resale market, what's actually going to be more expensive? Winning a multiple offer because you had to overbid or buying a home that's new that has that. Now, you have added costs as well with new builds. And so that's something important to consider. I'm going to show you a preview of a home that's coming for sale in the market in 2 days. And again, if you're watching, please comment, ask any questions, and I'm happy to show you what is going on in the real estate market after I show you what's happening over here. So let's just change the screen. I'll show you the inside. This is a gorgeous home, and no, it's not $1 million. So there's a lot of high-end finishings in this house as I preview it with you. Look at this kitchen. Isn't it gorgeous? So you have high-end appliances that you usually find in $1 million home. This is a Miele. It's Miele. And this one is, let's see if I can get any closer. I can't actually walk over here, but you have also the 5 burner gas stove. And then you have tile from the very bottom to the top. That's an upgrade. Pots and pans are an upgrade. You have this expensive granite countertop. This is not the standard granite with an undermount oversized stainless steel sink with waterfall. You see how it goes down to the bottom. And then you have this board and batten actually throughout the home. You have a bulkhead up here. The wall oven is also an upgrade. I don't know if I can see the walk-through pantry. There is a walk-through pantry on the map. You can see it, but he didn't go in there. And then it goes into the mudroom. So let me just walk over. This is the front door. So you see more board and batten, and you've got this detailing at the top here as well. And oops, oh my gosh, sorry. So you see this here. So you walk from the front. This is the first thing you see. There's 2 front closets. And then you walk down the hall. There's more board and batten here. This is the mudroom. Oh, I just went into the bathroom. Let's go back out here to the mudroom. So the mudroom shows you, this is where we're right here in the hallway before. There's the mudroom, lots of space for you to put in like cubbies or whatever. And then you also have the pantry here. Okay, so gorgeous. And guess what? This is a walkout basement. I'll show you some photos of the walkout. It is gorgeous, and you've got a concrete patio. You can put a hot tub in here. The grass is immaculate. The homeowners take massive pride in the grass, and it is in very, very good condition. And I'm not going to show you the whole house because we are going to put up a video later this week to actually preview this entire home. If you want more information, you can let us know. That is going to be located in the neighborhood of Paisley. So I'm going to show you some homes. I don't know why it's not working. There you go. I'm going to show you some homes that are currently for sale, which you guys can see on realtor.ca. But I'm also going to show you some homes, like in terms of sold prices. If I can get Paragon to work, it is not working at the moment. It's just being super slow. We had this problem this morning when we were trying to get the market stats. If you are looking at a specific neighborhood in West or Southwest, please put a comment. I don't see any comments right now. So we're going to take a look at, let's take a look at Granville. That is a West Edmonton neighborhood. It's taking so long to pull it up. I'm going to show you where Granville is on the Edmonton map. Granville is really close to the Costco. So here's Edmonton as a whole. And Granville is right here. So it's right here. The Costco and everything is over here. I don't know why Mr. Lube shows up bigger. And, oops, see here? And you have the Hamptons and Glastonbury and the Grange all here as well too. Then the newer homes you'll find are in Edgemont and Uplands and Stillwater and River's Edge. So it looks like it's nothing here, but there is homes built in here. A lot of new builds in the Uplands. It's hard to find a whole lot of resale. Be very careful of what you're buying in the Uplands because there's a lot of development happening in there, i.e. condos that you probably don't want to be backing onto. And you're also going to find other home types and just lots of construction. So just be aware of that. It is a little tucked away, it seems, but it has been built out quite a bit in the last 5 years. And River's Edge is the newer one. It's closer here, obviously, to the river, but there's a lot of power lines. So if power lines bother you, you want to be careful of that as well, too. There's a lot of power lines in Southwest Edmonton. I know it's Windermere and you got all the expensive stuff. Oh, Paisley, where I'm listing that house in a couple days, is located, whoop, it's in the Chappelle area. It's right here. It's on this side. I don't know why it's not showing. There we go. So it's right in this area. It's a nice little small area. And we are backing a pond, and on our side of the pond we're the biggest lot. So you definitely, if you like being exposed to pond, I love backing a pond. That's what I have, and it's nice. People think it's not private, but it is private. There's not a ton of people that walk in the past, but they do, but it's still private. And then you've got access here to this direction to Ellerslie Road. You also can go this direction to 41st Ave as well to kind of get over to the White Mud. You can see the hospital, but that's not a hospital. It's a dental place. There was supposed to be a hospital built here, but that got completely delayed. So the golf course is here, the Eiger Ridge. They have really good nachos, by the way, side note. And Mavati is a big thing that people have been really liking. But the Windermere amenities right here, you got the VIP movie theater, you got groceries, you got like a whole bunch of Safeway, Starbucks, a lot of cool new restaurants like PF Chang's, like a lot more than what's being zoomed in here. So let's go back to see what is for sale in Granville. And then I'm going to go over and show you what's happening in Uplands too. So I'm going to just look back in the last 60 days. So January and December, which typically would be quieter months. So that's why you see 7 properties total that are active, pending, or sold. And just waiting for it to pop up. Oh, I see some comments. So as we wait for this to pop up, let's take a look at one of our comments here. Can you speak more about the things to consider when trying to decide between possibly going into a bidding war over a resale home where you'd likely pay over asking versus a new build? Okay, absolutely. Let's just cover this first as I finally have it open. Okay, so in Granville, you can see that of the 7, I think it's just 2 properties were sold. One at $525, one at $679, and then one is pending at over $1 million. And then we have the rest underneath 600,000. So it's quite the gap in terms of what's been activity and sold. You can see everything over. It seems to sit a little longer. There's a new listing and that's a bungalow there. It's a nice neighborhood. Let's go back here. I'm going to pull up the Uplands. Lots of sales here happening for new build. So let's look at this. There's 71. And I went back 60 days. So let's go back 30 instead. We're down to 57. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to pop up, I talked about the should you go through a bidding war? This is a great This is a great question, but this is easier to answer if we actually have realtors involved to help you give you the best advice. It depends on the activity, it depends on the location, how important it is, because if you're looking at a location that is inside of the city, it's not comparable to like bidding on a property outside of the city. So this is something that we discuss in our buyer consult to go through this with our clients, because it's really important to understand the market and how to win and like what you're most comfortable with, and how do we make sure that we don't have to pay too much over market value, because that'll change your equity stance. However, buying at the beginning of the year as things continue to rise is always better than buying like at the height of the market in like June, and if things start to kind of fall. So it's important to kind of look at both scenarios, and I also give insight on like what's happening in new builds. Have prices increased? Are they expecting an increase? Is this an last year's pricing because the house was built before with the older pricing model because their materials were different? Those are all things that you need to consider. If you take a look at the uplands, I'm just going to quickly jump over to this, and then I'll go back to the other comment that we had. You can see that the sold prices range from $395, $394 to over $1 million. A lot of these homes are these duplex townhouse type units. You've got lots of front attached. These are all newer homes. They're less than, I would say for sure less than 10 years. But most of them are under 5 years, because you can see the bulk of the sales typically happen in the 4 to 5. So anything under 500,000 usually moves pretty quickly. So it's surprising that these 3 are still for sale. I think, yeah, these are new build ones. Typically anything under 5 goes pretty quick. So you see all these sales here. And then there are 500s as well. There's only 3, but you saw a lot more sales happening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like within the 400,000 price range. So that's the most popular. If you're looking to buy in the 4 to 500, you really have to think about a strategy. You have to think of a different strategy if you're buying in the 4 to 5s, if you're selling in 4 to 5s and buying higher, different things and variables to consider. Taking a look at this comment here. What do you recommend to someone looking to invest in a house as a fresh university graduate? 20% down payment for average house saved up. All right. So first of all, I want to say that's amazing that you saved up that much money as a fresh graduate. Congratulations. That is something I'm encouraging my children to do, and they are already doing it. It's so important to set money aside. That being said, when you are looking to purchase, there's a few things, and down payment is one of them, a big one, but the other is going to be credit. So what have you done to build up credit? Have you had a job? Have you been making income? Because a mortgage isn't going to be granted to someone who just graduated out of university with no job. You might have had credit built, so hopefully you have built up your credit over the time. And I've made the comment, if as soon as you're 18, I don't believe in credit card debt, but I believe in getting a credit card, using it, paying it full, and then building that credit card, or sorry, that credit. You've got your cell phone bill. If you're living on your own, you've got that kind of, all those things help build your credit. So that's one pillar. Down payment's another pillar, but the third pillar is also the income on your job. So it's really important. My recommendation is to talk to a mortgage broker to kind of figure out your specific situation and see what you should do. That would be the next step, is the mortgage consultation. I have a great mortgage broker. Her name is Stacy Petruk. You can find her on Instagram and look her up and have a conversation with her. And it's really important that you have that mortgage conversation, because there's many things. A lot of people just assume because they have that down payment, because it is hard to save up. So congratulations again, but there's more than meets the eye on that. Thank you for asking that question. Let's take a look at here. I just want a good deal, but don't know where to look. I want a great first, and this is the same guy that was asking about the down payment. So let's see. I want a great investment to properly live in the future. Apartment condo seems more feasible. Yeah. So if you've ever watched this channel before, you know that I will say I don't agree with apartment or condos, because it may be easier to get in, but the equity gain is limited compared to buying a single family with no condo fees. Your risk is higher because you have condo fees that will increase over time, but also if things change in terms of um, the depending how old the condo is. Oh, now there's a special assessment because all the decks have to get replaced or all the windows have to get replaced. Each unit is then responsible to pay 10, 20, 30, who knows, thousands of dollars. And so you end up eating that. And um, to get that for cash flow really doesn't make sense. It ideally, if you're doing an investment property, I've said this before, buy a single family, try to get two doors if possible, but when you're new and a first time investor, it's important to know what your limits are too. So sometimes I've had clients buy new build because there's warranty on it, and people will pay more money for rent for a new build property. But don't forget there's now added expenses in terms of making sure the landscaping is done. You cannot just leave it with dirt, and you will have to put in window coverings. We bought a new build to do a rental, and then we converted to an Airbnb. And there's pros and cons to all of that stuff. So make sure you are sitting down for a consultation with an agent to really figure out what is it that you're looking for. And first of all, like I said earlier, talk to the mortgage broker and figure out that game plan before you sit down with the realtor, and then really figure out what is the strategy going to be when it comes to that. Okay. Oh, Sid says you work full time corporate office, working towards blah blah blah, have 35K. Okay, so how many years have you worked? If it's been at least 2 years, you're in good place. But again, talk to the mortgage broker to figure that out. And we'll take a look at. Oh, Sid, thanks so much. You're welcome, and I'd be happy to connect you with someone from our team. Okay, so take a look at this comment. Do you recommend going with a realtor or a professional to look at condo documents? Okay, this is not a channel about condos, by the way. I'll just quickly answer your question. I highly recommend talking to your lawyer or someone who looks strictly at condo docs, okay? Because there's so many things. And realtors, we don't just do condos. It's really important, and it's a liability factor that you want to do your due diligence and talk to the people that like always look at condominium docs. Um, and he's asking about townhouse condos versus apartment condos. Technically less risk, but still risk. You still have condo fees. So it's really important to do that. And I think that you need to understand that, like I said, I don't promote that. You can get single family townhouses. Did you know that? It's worth it. If you take a look at the condo fees and your mortgage payment on a condo, put them together. That's what you need to qualify when it comes to the mortgage. You might as well just take that amount and put it towards a single family version of that. So you're limited on like what areas you can go to because only the new areas have that. But I would recommend that. There are some new condo townhouses that are really the condo fees are super cheap, but you have to understand the condo fees will increase over time. And as long as you understand that and the risk involved, that's just important. Just also make sure you understand you're going to be paying more in condo fees. Got time for one more question. Is Airbnb market doing well in our city? I know someone with some friends having success with it. That's a great question. I have been out of that market now for a few years. We got rid of all of our rental properties, and Airbnb, we just wanted to get out of it because Airbnb is like running a business. Rental, long-term rental is long-term rental. They're two totally different things. Regardless, both those things we just wanted to not be a part of anymore because it was very time consuming for us. So we decided not to do it. It is, you have to understand when I got into it, the insurance was different. You have to find commercial insurance now. There are more rules. There are, you have to set up a business unless you live in the home and then have the Airbnb. But if it's just for Airbnb, there's different rules for that. I gotta go soon, guys. The Daddy Cooking Show. Can you talk about homes with garage suites? Is it worth it? That's a great question that I will answer at next week's live because I do have an appointment, so I can't answer this question at the moment. Alvin, are you referring to the freehold townhomes 3 beds in newer areas. Yeah, they have those, but they also have there's a couple of them. Some of them have the garages with no basements, and then some of them have the garages in the back. That's what I'm referring to. Absolutely. There's a lot of those available, and again, some of them are available on resale depending on what area you're looking in. Rosenthal has them because they were one of the first areas for us to see those. Um, and then a duplex in my area sold within 2 days. Are there specific housing types that are going faster than others? Anything between 4 to 500,000 or 3 to 400 moves like a drop of just goes. That being said, we have listed homes over 600 and over a million, and those also went really quick. But the bulk of the sales, if you look, it goes like a bell curve. The height of the bulk bell curve is the $3 to $500,000 price range, and 4 to 5 is like the hottest price point. So whatever you're looking for in that area and that price point is going to be thing. Oh, thanks for tuning in, Sid, for the first time, and hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday. And I'll talk to you guys all about the garage suites because I'm going to do some research and bring it back to you. Bye, guys.